Yo, what's up, crew? Welcome back to the SMMA Systemization Masterclass. In today's episode, we will be going through organizational structure, essentially being able to structure your entire organization and get it ready for SOP creation and working on the most important SOPs first. Now, before we jump into this part of the masterclass, this is episode 2. And if you haven't watched episode 1 on the crucial client journey, I highly recommend go back, watch that one, because that episode flows directly into what we're doing today with our organizational alignment and how we will be structuring your organization from a high level. Here we are back at the Miro board. Again, I want to go through some quick structure before we jump into this part of the masterclass. We have a lot to cover in this video, and I want to try and keep it as short as possible. So some rules for building an organizational structure. Remember, guys, chances are your business is already functioning, so we don't need to necessarily rebuild everything, tear down the infrastructure, and essentially rebuild from the floor up. Okay, the goal is to build on existing frameworks that already exist in the business, not necessarily to tear everything down. So just know that we're going to be building on existing frameworks, how things are currently done in the business. And we're just going to work on systemizing those pieces first. If you are a solo founder and just getting started, okay, it will be important for you to focus on things around your positioning, ability to attract new clients, and to deliver great results. If you guys skip over that part and you start systemizing the things that aren't going to drive revenue through the business, then it's going to be things that you're not even going to use yet. So make sure you're focusing on those 3 things. It's going to make this way more valuable in the short term and allow you to drive revenue through the business. Number 3 here, if you have a team, make sure you use them. All right. If we have an organization where we have multiple employees, this is crucial for you guys. Do your best to avoid adding your name to the team section. I'll go through this in just a second. So make sure you guys stay to the end so that makes sense. But make sure that you guys avoid you being the system creator here. If you have a team, if you have a management team, we want to use your team. Your team has great knowledge. We're going to use them. And then lastly, reflect back on the crucial client journey to set up your organizational structure framework, which we covered last week. And if you guys missed it, once again, go back and watch it. Okay, now let's jump into it. We're starting with the organizational structure framework, and I'll give you these templates here at the end, guys. So make sure you stay to the end for this video so I can show you exactly where you can find these frameworks and download these templates. Okay. At the top here, we're going to be talking about lanes. So let's talk about how we organize the our operation first. So lanes at the top. This is what we consider the major functions inside of the business. Everything from lead gen, sales, fulfillment, HR, finance. Okay, those are the specific lanes inside of like an agency business, which is something that I'm very familiar with. Maybe you're running a separate business, a service-based business of some sort. Okay, you're going to put your operational lanes at the very top here. These are also referred to as swim lanes as well. Up next, we have the responsibility side of things. So all of this lays out all the responsibilities that happen inside of those swim lanes. So I'll go through the example here in a second, but I just want to define these lanes first. Okay. At this stage, we are breaking down the crucial client journey that we worked on in the last episode into more granular key responsibilities. So once again, if you did not do that client crucial journey, then chances are this is not going to make a ton of sense. And then lastly, here we have team. Okay. Who within your organization is going to take ownership of each lane of the business? Think heads of departments, your management team, your C-level team. This is who we're going to take on to delegate some of the SOP creation to, because once again, it should not be you. You will also want to note any key players in those departments, especially if you have a little bit larger team. This will be really important to note those key players. Your department heads, chances are they're really busy, and so you will need to get them help in designing some of these SOPs. And chances are there's other people on the team that can help them with this. And then last little note here, not every teammate needs to be listed here. If you run a little bit larger organization, you might have some day laborers or people that are more, hey, pushing the buttons and turning the gears throughout the day. It doesn't mean that they have to come in and we get the entire team involved in this. We're looking for key players, people that hold the knowledge of how you guys deliver the service, how you guys run the company. Okay. So hopefully that's making sense so far. This is what the overall structure and framework will look like. Now, let me give you an example of what it would look like filled in. Okay. Now, I'm doing this for the agency the agency lane specifically. Okay. So if we come down here to a filled out version of this, and this is a very simplified version, you might have multiple lanes. And I left some extra blanks here for you guys to fill in multiple lanes. But for the most part, most service based businesses are going to function across five major lanes in the business. This is what we consider operations. Okay. Lead gen, sales, fulfillment, HR, finance. Right. And so, in order for us to kind of understand our client flow, okay, well, we have to understand the start, which is going to be lead gen, how we move them through sales, then how we move them through fulfillment, and then how we hire up staff and make sure that we are doing that at the right time. And then lastly, finance, things like payroll, taxes. Okay. Now, going down the lead gen lane here for a second, okay, we might generate leads through Facebook ads, LinkedIn outbound, referrals, any way that you are driving leads through the business. We should put that in a list. Anything that refers back to a lead generation activity for you guys that has a responsibility tied to it, we're going to just note that here. Now, this is more of a high level view. So I'm not expecting you to systemize every nook and cranny of all of your lead gen systems. We're looking for, once again, the minimum viable, the things that really move the needle inside the business that our team does on a regular basis or that you are doing on a regular basis and you're looking to delegate. Okay. On the sales side, we might want to note our discovery call, our closing call, audits, follow ups, contracts, invoicing. Those are all things inside of the sales lane that you should have SOPs created around. Once again, you can add more into that list as needed. On the fulfillment side, think about it in order of delivery. So, from your onboarding to running the actual meta ads or creative service that you're running, reporting, resigns, cross sells, offboarding, right? Do it in the flow of how your fulfillment happens. So, from the time that they onboard all the way to the time that they offboard. Okay. And once again, you can add some extra in between there. On the HR side, how are you hiring people? Team meetings, one-on-ones. I put PIPs in there. If you don't know what that is, performance improvement plans for underperforming teammates, and then firing. Hey, how do we let go of teammates as well? Once again, having a structure there will be really important. And then lastly, finance, payroll, taxes, as some examples there as well. Now, if you guys have nowhere to start here with the examples that I gave you, because this is a really good kickoff point for putting structure and responsibilities into each lane of this. Now, once again, this is not a one-time thing that we're going to do. This we'll come back to this and we'll start filling in more gaps because as you start to build some of these systems, you're going to know like, oh yeah, I forgot this part, right? And so you can plug those in as needed and start to create those systems. And it's going to give you once again a 30,000 foot view to look down into the business and say, these are the things that we actually need to systemize. These are the minimum viable systems that are needed in order to get our client from generated lead all the way into a closed and fulfilled client. Now, at the bottom here, we have the team, and I have Billy, Wilma, and Hank here. They're owning these lanes. Okay. Billy owns the lead gen lane. Wilma owns the sales lane, and Hank owns the fulfillment lane, right? Now, you might have more teammates than just these three. Okay. So you can stack those teammates. The person at the top should be the head of that department, right? So if you're running a pretty large organization, then we want the head of the department at the top, and then the key players underneath them. You can differentiate those with different color highlights if you'd like to when you put your own people in there. Okay. So that is the organizational structure framework and how it's organized. Once again, if you have more lanes, like some people put operations as its own lane. Okay. To each their own. This is how I structure our organization. I like simplicity and rhythm when it comes to building out our organization. So these are the five lanes that we operate underneath because a lot of like operations can be filled into lead gen, sales, fulfillment, right? Like that's just part of it. Okay. So structure this the way that you want it to. There's not a one way to do it. This is just the way that I personally do it. So add in your own flavor as needed. Okay, so that's the organizational structure, and you'll need to fill that out before we get into the SOP assignment sheet. And to cover the SOP assignment sheet, we'll go through each column here, which the first one is going to be the lane. Okay, so if you remember from the lane over here, these are going to be the major functions inside the business, and that the SOP will actually live under once it's created. Okay, so lane, and then secondly, we have our SOP. SOP simply is the category of responsibility that is pulled from your crucial client journey. And I'll show you what that looks like in just a second. And then from there, description of that SOP that's actually needed to be written specifically for that responsibility. And then lastly, the key player who will be assigned to that SOP. Is it going to be Hank? Is it going to be Billy? Is it going to be Wilma? All right. What are we building out first? Now, to give you guys an example here, from this SOP assignment sheet, we can go into the real life example, which is laid out really simply here. And your list will probably be much longer, and you'll probably even have multiple SOP assignment sheets that you will have to utilize across each department. But this one is specific into the fulfillment lane. Okay, the SOP that we're going to be building around is going to be the onboarding, and then we have individual descriptions for each step of the onboarding process. Now, I only have 4 steps laid out here. Chances are you probably have a lot more than that in your onboarding process. And then at the far end, we have who the key player is, who's going to be in charge of creating these SOPs. Okay. So once again, lane fulfillment SOP is going to be around onboarding. And in the description, let's go through these real quick. How to pass a new closed client to the fulfillment team. So your sales team lands a client. How does that get passed off? How does the team get notified on the new client onboarding? How do we send the kickoff email to the new client? Hey, like what is included in the email? Do we need to design a script for that to send off to them? Okay. Do we schedule a call with them? What happens there? Okay. From there, where do we store the client assets when submitted? Especially if you're running like a creative agency or something along those lines, you're going to probably have to store creative assets somewhere. Where do those get stored at when they're submitted? And then running the client's kickoff call when you get started, when you get kicked off with them. How does that meeting run? Is there a meeting cadence? Is there stuff that they have to come prepared with? Do you have to come prepared with stuff? Right? That's what we're going to document in this. And here's the thing is our key player, Hank, he owns all of this and he has the knowledge and is probably running this on autopilot. And if you don't have SOPs for it yet, he has them internally, right? He knows how to run this system, and chances are he just needs to document it. Now, I'm not going to be showing you guys the documentation process today in this masterclass. That will be in masterclass number 3. So make sure that you guys subscribe so you can check that one out when it releases, probably sometime next week. Now, here's the hard part: is the actual assignment itself. Okay, I need you guys to actually go and follow through with this. Put together your organizational structure framework. Do your SOP assignment sheet. I provided templates here in the Miro board, and then also the templates will be included inside of the description as well, so you guys can get access to those. Want to make sure that you guys are following this step by step. Quick reminder: if you've missed episode 1, go back, do the crucial client journey. Okay, everything will be stacked inside of this Miro board. I will include it inside of the description as well for you guys. The templates are available. It is literally plug and play. All right, there's no excuse for not getting this done. Make sure you guys follow along for the next episode. That's when we're going into the SOP creation. We're going to start using Loom videos. We're going to use a little chat GPT and a little AI to make your job a lot easier. So hit the subscribe button, leave a like, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.